January the 29th. Lake level's 916 and a quarter, and it's actually been coming down the last week and a half, 2 weeks. I've actually got to get out quite a bit. It was a gorgeous weekend, so the last 3 or 4 days I've been fishing quite a bit, and fishing's been good. Now, we had a little front come through today. We avoided the snow and the ice, just pretty much got rain. But the water temperature, it actually cooled down, but it progressively warmed up over the weekend quite a bit. But you'll find water temperatures from 45 to sometimes as high as 50 degrees. And I've been able to catch them several different ways. Been catching some good quality fish on swim baits like a 2.8 and a 3.2 would be like a Strike King Rage swimmer or a Kitech. Still catching some vertical on a Rapala ice fishing jig and a spoon, but catching some on a crankbait too. And some of the rivers have colored up from all the rain and stuff that we've had. Like right now, if you go up to Cape Fair, water's got a nice green color to it, but if you get further down lake, down like Ants Creek area, it's got more of a brown. They've been pulling so much water that it's pulling a lot of the real dirty water out of the upper rivers, bringing it to the mid rivers. And the same thing with Long Creek and the Kings. If you go over the Kings on Highway 86, the water looks real good, but if you get further down, it's a little darker colored. But when the water was cold, I was shying away from the dirty, muddier water. But last few days, I found late in the days, we're getting up to almost 60 degrees, that stained water was warming up quite a bit. And I'll get into the shallow bite there first, but when that would happen, I could get on the main rivers, kind of where any place is a channel swing, rock transitions, and I could throw a crankbait. And I was throwing several different crankbaits. It seemed like once that sun got up, some of that water was warming up 48 to 50 degrees. But a couple crankbaits that are always good on table rock, is a rock crawler, wiggle wart, and I like a lot of red and green, red with a little black. The water's a little clearer, I'll go with like a crawdad pattern. But there's a lot of different baits that'll work. Like I say, Sixth Sense makes a real good looking one. It's kind of a knockoff off of wiggle wart. The Strike King's got a new square bill that's about the same body size as a 1.5, but it's got a deeper bill, and this will get down about as deep as the wiggle wart. It'll get down about 8 feet on 10-pound line, and it's got a little bit tighter action, a little tighter wobble than the wiggle wart does. And like I say, a lot of reds, greens, and one color that works real good too is what we call school bus. It's the old wiggle wart color. But I had to crank the bait, pretty slow, but I could catch, quite a few fish, several keepers. But my bigger fish were coming on a swim bait. And on that crankbait, normally this time of year, I'm throwing it on 8 to 10 pound Suffix Advanced fluorocarbon. And on my spinning rods with the little swim bait, anywhere from 6 to 8 pound. But a little 2.8 Kitech or a 3.2 Rage swimmer, and I'm throwing it on a little 1/4 ounce head that I pour, either a 3/0, 4/0 hook. And I'm finding these fish that are coming up higher in the water columns certain times of the days where I can just make a long cast with the swim bait, count it down about 15 or 20, and just a real slow retrieve back. If I see some down below me, I can, vertical fish them. But the other day we were out, and I don't think we had a short fish, and I think probably the smallest keeper we had was about 2.5, 2 3/4, and we had several up in the 3.5, 4 pound range. And they were mixed. There were more smallmouths and largemouths than there were spots. Now, if I'm vertical fishing in that 50 to 55 feet with the Rapala ice jig or a white spoon, those seem to be more spotted bass with a few smallmouth mixed in with them. And if you get on a big school, there'll be several short fish. But the quality fish, like I say, came on my best ones the last 3 or 4 days have been coming on the swim bait. I've been throwing Alabama rig some. I'm not having a whole lot of luck on it, but I'm not giving it probably as much time, I've got a little more confidence in the single swim bait. And a lot of the places I'm throwing it, they're in the centers of these real deep creeks, out over deep trees. A lot of times I might be setting in, 50 to 70 foot of water, but I'm only fishing the bait anywhere from 15 to 25 foot down. Especially in the morning, they seem to be a lot higher up in that water column. And the Alabama rig I've been throwing is just got 1/8 ounce heads. I think what I need to do is be more patient with it, put heavier heads on, get it down a little deeper. But I think in the morning, early, I could probably throw that A-rig around some cedar tops, like places where you would normally throw a jerkbait. And I've been trying the jerkbait a little bit, but still finding the bite to be a little tough on the jerkbait. Like I say, where I've got the swim bait working, I have a hard time letting that jerkbait set for as long as I feel I need to, or where I can pick up the crankbait if I get in the stained water and catch, more numbers of fish. I've been having a little bit more fun doing that. But on the ice fishing jig and the spoon, normally that ice fishing jig I fish on 12 to 15 pound fluorocarbon, and the same with the spoon. Anywhere from a 6/8 to a 7 foot medium action rod. And again, I've been using that Suffix Advanced Fluorocarbon. Now, a lot of the places, I've been seeing some birds and some loons kind of scattered out. So if I see them, I'm still stopping and checking them, checking out what's underneath them. But out there in the middle of the lake, if I see the loons out there, it seems like a lot of that bait is still down there extremely deep at 80 foot. But in the creeks, when I've been able to find bait in the creeks, and I've found it from the mid-James to the Kimberling City area, up in the dam area. And not in every creek, you got to run in and out of several of them, but I'm finding that shad in that 20 to 40 foot range, and that's where that swim bait is, been working a lot better for me. Another thing I kind of want to mention, I've been helping some guys with the Garmin and Lowrance electronics, trying to get them fine-tuned on the water. And there's something I kind of want to point out. I mean, we're all spending a lot of money for these electronics. And the biggest problem I see that when I get into somebody else's boats are the people that are installing them. Now, I have my boats rigged up a tracker. Ed and Andrew do an awesome job rigging my Garmin electronics. Like down in this area, the guys at Ulrich Marine, they've got the guys that do nothing but rig electronics all day. If you're, Springfield area, the guys up at Marine Repair Center. And I know there's a lot of other people that do good quality rigging that I'm not mentioning, but I haven't worked with them firsthand. But, when you buy these electronics, you definitely need to go to somebody that knows what they're doing and have them install them. I know with the Garmin, I don't know exactly sure how it works, but if you don't have an authorized dealer install, I think your warranty on the stuff's only about in half. But that's one of the biggest problems I see. Even these bigger boat companies, a lot of them aren't running big enough wires up to the bow of the boat to run a couple units. And I've been in some buddies' boats, when you go to start the boat, the graphs go off. Well, the reason the supply line is not a big enough wire, it's starving the units for juice. So, if you're going to spend the money for the electronics, spend a little bit more and have them properly rigged. And other than that, just, basic settings on a lot of the units is what the guys seem to be missing. Most of the units, it's amazing what they'll do. I mean, my wife showed me some stuff last night. Now, when my phone rings, it comes over my graphs with the Wi-Fi set up. You can have your emails come up, your Facebook. It's crazy what these graphs are capable of doing if you've got them rigged right. So, looks like, I don't think this little cool weather that we had today and tomorrow is going to affect it very much. It's supposed to get back up into the 60s again. So start looking for them fish to be moving up higher in the water column and shallower as we start getting into February. So till next week, good luck, good fishing.